Global Payments has been enabling buy now, pay later for years, executing more than 1.5 billion transactions annually. It's one of the world's largest payment companies, and it recently paired up with Amazon Web Services. And while the likes of Affirm and Klarna are the buzzy new kids on the block, is this technology about to become more ubiquitous? Joining me now is Jeff Sloan. He is the CEO of Global Payments. Jeff, it is great to have you here. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So buy now, pay later has been around for a while?
Yeah, Kelly, that's right. So one of the things that's important to understand about Global Payments is we are the beneficiaries of innovation in the ecosystem. So new payment types like QR code, safer commerce, contactless, and of course, installment payment plans, which are now really called buy now, pay later, have been a part of our ecosystem for many years, particularly outside of the United States in Asia Pacific and Latin America. So as you rightly said, today we enable at Global Payments more than 1.5 billion buy now, pay later transactions each year. A lot of those are powered by virtual cards, and we issue more than 50 million virtual cards per year today, spending more than 25 billion a year on those. So it's fantastic news for us. The more things are digital, the more money we make.
Interesting. So I think, as we mentioned, I think maybe the fourth largest company in the global merchant acquirer and processing space. So your rivals would be Fiserv and FIS and Chase and these companies. And now, as I mentioned, there's a lot of a lot of market share being taken by startups like Square. Can Square ever become so big that they go after a Tiffany, a Louis Vuitton, the types of companies they're more your bread and butter?
Yeah, I would say, Kelly, that our value proposition is along a few lines. The first thing is we're actually a top quartile software as a service cloud company, largely in AWS and Google today. The second thing is we have one of the largest, if not the largest, e-com acquiring businesses in the world. Square's really heading in a different direction. They're really trying to be a digital bank and enable digital wallets for consumers. So I would say the pure merchant acquiring business at Square is probably 20% or less of their business, whereas for us, it's really 100% digital payments for merchants, financial institutions, software partners, and tech companies is really 100% of what we do. So I think they're really headed in a slightly different direction. And to the extent that that builds a bigger target addressable market for all of us in payments, the way our B2B acquisition recently did, I think that's nothing but good news for Global Payments.
And can you explain that? So when we start talking about B2B payments, from one business to another, as opposed to the consumer checkout experience we're more used to, whether in the physical store or online, who traditionally has been processing B2B payments, and what difference does it make, this recent acquisition of yours, with regard to how that space continues to evolve?
Well, Kelly, you might be surprised to know that B2B payments is a 125 trillion with a T dollar business today, but half of it remains by check. So the answer to your question is almost nobody is doing payments, and in some cases even ACH. It's mostly check on a business of that size, and that market is growing organically double digits. So what we did with our announced acquisition, our investor conference a couple of weeks ago with Mineral Tree, is really by the last remaining leg to the stool that we needed, which is to say cloud SaaS for accounts payable automation, largely in AWS, enables us out of the gates to have $2/3 of $1 billion of revenue and be one of the biggest participants in the B2B marketplace really out of the gates.
Well, I do hope that you can bring it to scale quickly, you and all others working in the space, because it is shocking sometimes how far behind some of these companies still are, even with the way that they deal with customers, let alone with each other. Jeff, thanks for joining us to explain it today. We look forward to checking in with you soon.
Thanks for having me.
Jeff.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.